All right. Well, welcome back to another episode with Ash, Hubert, and Kevin. We help business owners and finance pros understand the numbers and make better decisions for their businesses.
Well, my name's Ash. I'm a chartered accountant. I hold an MBA and I've got a GAICD. Worked the last decade in listed companies, driving continuous improvement through data-driven decision making and business partnering. Over to you, Kev.
I am Kevin. I'm a chartered accountant, finance leader across many parts of business, and I believe in self-sustainable living and going off-grid.
Yeah, so also my name's Hubert, so I'm a chartered accountant as well with a Master of Finance, background in auditing and accounting, corporate accounting. And yeah, so I guess my skill set is around system implementations and new processes.
Good on you. How was that for an intro?
There you go.
You feel confident?
Much more confident now.
Well done, Hubert. So, Hubert, you were talking about kids before.
Yes.
Do you recommend it?
How was one? How did you go from 1 to 2? What was the workload change? Was there any workload change?
To keep that simple, I guess one kid I was able to juggle with my wife. Get 2 kids, pretty much is divide and conquer, right? So, I think that's the challenge I found, where it's sort of like, with one kid you can have sort of breaks, 2 kids, just breaks are no longer there anymore. But kids are definitely worth it. Just without a doubt. It doesn't matter. I don't care how many degrees and things you have. Being dad's the most important thing, and I've learned that this way. So, yeah, definitely worth it.
Would you say if you looked 16 years back, when you were doing your uni degree, would you say accounting and finance is actually the best career to raise kids in? As in, like, in terms of flexibility, your seasonality really depends on your role, unless you're, one of those super intense CFO roles, E36 listed company where you're on the ball every day. What career is equivalent to supporting parenthood for both mum and dad? It's very hard to think of anything else, right?
I mean, teaching's there.
Yeah, but
there's so much, like my cousins, I know, feels like every, so often it's like, term's ended and I've got 2 weeks off. I'm like, mate,
Well, here's the thing. So teaching's good in flexibility, but doesn't pay as well.
Correct.
So your balance is, yes, it gives you way more flexibility, you get more time off, but your pay is almost capped by the government, right?
Yeah, correct,
unless you go to some private college or something.
It's a career, and some of it's going to be, I think IT would have been a good space to get to. So I've seen a few developers get paid a lot of coin.
Yeah.
Recently. When I say recently, they've held that numbers. So yeah, I think IT, not the medical field.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Teaching with flexibility. And then I think accounting, if you've got the right role, you'll be able to do well. You got the sort of wrong roles with the wrong organizations. It's chaos, right? So, yeah.
See, there's one thing I always said. Every family needs one accountant in there. Because I see too many families where, it could be full of doctors, full of engineers, they're nothing but money, and they're the ones struggling financially. You're like, mate, you guys making 3-4 times what our family makes. How are you struggling?
Yeah.
Whereas you got one accountant in the family, that's all you need, just to sort of help you manage this money. Make sure you invest, make sure you do the right things, and just that things feel easier. So I always think accounting is a good job, but I think you need one accountant in each family at least.
We're still looking for that accountant in our family. But yeah, it's just a good reflection when we're now at the stage of having kids. It's actually, as much as we sometimes dunk on accounting, it's actually a good career pathway to have when you're supporting kids. And it practically helps as well in supporting and rearing family.
So the higher up you go, the more accounting it gets for your career. That's what everyone needs to get through their head, right? Like the higher up you go in the food chain for any sort of like sales jobs or whatever it is, like right at the end of the day, like you're just talking numbers to people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a people leader, if you're a salesperson, like whatever it is, like manufacturing some random product, it just becomes numbers on a page, and you're having to explain what an accrual is and why they didn't meet their number to a CFO. So it's definitely a skill to have. So.
And sometimes you feel like it's common knowledge as well. I remember like recently I was sitting down with an ops manager and talking through his numbers, and he was like, whoa, I've never never really looked at it this way. I'm like, what the heck? Isn't this just like common? And it was just like common knowledge to us because we just deal with numbers every day. But it's actually such a big thing sometimes for these people who are so embedded in their work and their roles. But yeah, hey Hubert, you joined Sydney Zoo almost on day one. I think it was you and then the lions, and then everyone else. We brought up a couple of episodes ago about how you were probably in a unique position where you got to be in a company from day one, set everything up. And I think we're just interested in understanding how that went for you, what challenges you had, what was that journey like, and yeah, what experience you took from that you could take to other roles as well.
Yeah, so starting new, I guess, whole new process. It is challenging in that, you got nothing to fall back on. You are creating, you're creating everything, pretty much all the policies, all the procedures, chart of accounts.
Did you write all of the policies and procedures from scratch?
They wrote a few of them, like things we used before, like say credit cards were still there before I joined. Because even when I joined, the organization was already running for about a few years, but it was very basic. They were still in construction. So only after I joined, when the animals started coming in, then we better open up. So there's a change happening when I joined. So there was very basic policies, but then I guess when I came in, the purchasing policy had to be written up, the expense, all those a few policies had written up. Procedures were non-existent, so because they were just sort of opening up. So you had to create all the procedures about using new because when I joined was just putting new systems in place, accounting system, expense system, point of sale system, cash system. There's a whole lot of things were coming in as I joined. So basically, as they were joining in, we had to make processes, we had to make control, we had to write all this stuff up. It's a very interesting time. I guess that's one difference. When I joined, same as Hudson U, so everything's already mature company, everything was set in place. You had to go in there and just continue the work.
Yeah.
Whereas here it was I'm the one making up the processes. So in a way, it was a bit of, when the challenge of having the responsibility on you, where people are questioning, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? Because I'm sort of trying to get back on my experience and trying to write these policies up. But, yes, it's very good. And I guess that's when my auditing skills came into play where, I do recommend going to auditing because it does teach you the controls of all the business cycles, right? And that's what I sort of use that to work out how to best approach this, the way we do stuff at Sydney Zoo. And it was good. That was they were writing the chart of accounts because when I joined, we hadn't operated yet. So as a zoo, so you had to sort of future-proof what you're doing as well. So you write in chart of accounts and the picture that, we are going to operate a zoo in a few months' time.
Yeah.
What does that look like? And that was a challenge. And look, it's still evolving right now. We're open 5 years now. Chart of accounts still changing. It's all systems are still changing. So things are still it's not mature yet. So 5 years later, I'm still in the process of pretty much creating a new business, I guess. So that's what it feels like. There's a slow process, but yeah, it's good.
Did you have to pick systems and stuff to go with, or was that already done for you? Did you have to shop around for things and?
So when I joined, I think just before I joined, the CFO already selected a few of the systems.
Yeah.
So I basically came in and implemented them. So I think she knew that I did a few system implementations in previous roles. She goes, I want you to come here and do the same thing as Sydney Zoo. And that's basically what I got in there and done the data transfer from other systems, set the new systems up and worked with IT guys. So I basically had a bit of a IT finance position in the start. So worked close with IT guys and get all the systems up and running. And it was good. It was good fun. But then as soon as the system sort of went up online, they took me out of the IT side and it's like, okay, you go back to the accounting side and let the IT team take care of their stuff,
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good fun. It was a good experience actually. Sort of, something. I was still not every day you're gonna open a new zoo, so it was definitely a good experience.
How did you figure out the accounting standard side of animals and all that stuff?
Yeah, it was
because you don't really study that. It's not really common knowledge, right?
It's surprising. You think me working in zoo, I'm doing animals a lot, but sometimes I forget I'm at a zoo. Like I'm in my office, just feels like I'm in another company.
Sometimes the office feels like the zoo.
It does, yeah, but then
Chimpanzee hanging out.
so when I think when it comes to accounting, you sort of forget. Sometimes you don't. The core business is what core business, but then the accounting side of stuff, it's like you just focus on standards, just focusing on IT systems and processes, and so like that sometimes it doesn't really matter what the actual core business is. You just got to bring it back to the numbers, and like sometimes the numbers are the same everywhere you go, right? And that's what you sort of bring it down. And sometimes I forget I'm at a zoo. I walk outside, go home, and hear the lion roaring. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm at a zoo. So because you just don't realize that at the end of the day, numbers are just numbers, and I think that's what it comes down to. Is like decision making is based on what the business is, but then when it comes to your end of the month financial numbers, like it's all the same no matter where you are.
Revenue recognition is the same.
That's it. Yeah, same standards, same concepts, and I think that's what it comes down to. You treat it the same as like just another business with the needs a number written down. Yeah,
that is different. So let's say someone wants to go ahead and in your case, someone wants to go purchase a new car. They go through a process. How does someone go by organising a new chimp to the zoo? Like, how do you even, like, is there a purchase requisition that you have to do? Like, how does that work with, like, one chimp, location Africa?
That's actually like there's a few people at the zoo where it's like their role is to source these. You come with the plan of which animals you want to bring in, stuff as well. I should don't get involved there too much. All I do at the end of the day is pretty much they say I want to buy this animal from this country. I go, fine. How much does that cost? What's the all I can do. How long? What's the cost? What do we need to do? Improve at the zoo for the exhibits and stuff like that. Then I just pretty much record that on my accounting side. So from my point of view, all I'm paying is the invoice to cover the cost of bringing that animal across. There is a process where I'm not really sure about how. Because you do look at the gene pool and make sure that they're coming, bring the right animal in, where they're going to fit into socially, all that kind of stuff as well, which way out of my. I've got no idea how that all works.
The balance sheet shows that.
But so there is a whole process with the actual animal, when it comes to the accounting side of it, it's just the cost to bring them over, and so I don't know if you guys know, you don't own the animal to some extent, like pretty much.
Right, really?
Yeah.
Who owns the animal?
99-year lease.
Well, it's sort of like
operating IFRS 16.
Because we're part of that ZAR organization, the Zoos and Aquarium Association. So I think it's sort of like everyone's helping each other. Where so when it comes to like breeding, when it comes to like animal welfare, you're sort of all helping each other. So it's not like we don't pay to buy an animal. So it's interesting. It's an interesting concept, but like even like that's it. To be honest, I'm not 100% how exactly how it works, but like there is like you don't. Our balance sheet doesn't have any animals on it.
Right.
So
that's bonkers, eh? Because I used to do auditing for a horse racing thing, and their horses were recorded in the balance sheet. Because
they're probably not part of the
they'd be owned, right?
They were.
Yeah. So I think that's probably different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're part of this zoo thing, like you sort of. It's like us being a chartered accountant sort of thing. It's like you're part of a big professional body, which sort of has their own code of conduct kind of stuff. So
and to what their complexity was is when they got the horse pregnant and birthed a foal. Foal. Yeah, foal. How do you account for that? Because because it's born internally. So then how do you put because now it needs to be counted when you're doing your stock take. And I was like, these are very valid questions. No idea. So I had to go figure that out with the technical team.
So I think we did that when we were auditing once. We did was it Charles University?
Yeah.
Where they had a few animals in the livestock, and there's value to that as well, wasn't there? I'm pretty sure that I vaguely remember that word there. I think that they didn't
care about my career then.
Because I think they had some livestock and they had a value to that as well. So I guess
there's a reason he was a manager.
The variance is immaterial. On 99% of my worksheet.
So I guess there is different So some businesses where it's more privately you get animals got to have value. That's why but from our point of view that's not a balance sheet item.
That's interesting. So you're basically, without getting Hubert to, so we're gonna have to speculate here. You're expensing the item.
It's a cost to maintain, right?
Yeah. And when you buy it, because you're paying that fee, and then there's a cost to thing. And then you measure your ROI just based on attendance off the back of that once it's introduced.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Because
Hubert's not going to tell us the answer.
Well, I mean, with anything, it's retail, right? So if we like had to strip that organization down, you'd be checking when people enter, what times, what periods, what months. Is it raining outside? Is it not raining out? Like, I'm sure Hubert's smiling at me going, yep, he's already doing all this analysis, but which is amazing, right? Yeah, because the car park's not even monitored, right? So it's just literally people who walk into the zoo, right? So yeah, that's cool. There'd be so much data in there. Guys had to introduce QR codes everywhere to figure out where people are actually hitting up. Did you guys have AI cameras to blitz that? Because there's that technology now as well, right?
They used to have that based on Wi-Fi. I remember train stations used to do it.
Yeah.
So based on which Wi-Fi router your thing connects to, you can think people movement. But I'm sure you guys do more. Sometimes the high tech is overkill. Just the low tech of
that's right.
having a zookeeper stand there and be like, oh yeah, 10 people came today to look at the tiger. Is good data. And then you obviously like retail and where people buy food and stuff. That's good. So I'm guessing all the animals would be on that association's balance sheet, whatever the ZAR, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Someone's got to own it.
Good question. I actually don't know how to answer that. But yeah, okay. Well, it's not on our balance sheet. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it'll be on whoever's managing
if you just treat it as like an expense, a one-off cost.
Yeah.
Like technically, like China, you can't like depreciate an animal, right? Like it's like that, right? So
yeah.
it'd be like buying stuff and then like depreciating them over time, right? So they probably just treat it as like an expense going through, most likely. That's interesting. So,
but I think at the same time, like they can't just walk in and take animals as well. It's like it's still we got to agree to some extent as well. So
Yeah,
that's interesting. Have you gone through it off the animal conversation now? But have you had to replace a system? Like any of those POS systems, cash?
Not yet, but I think it could be close to a few. Yeah.
And what's been your approach? Like, have you seen problems come through where you're like, oh, let me go explore new tech? Like, what's brought on some of those conversations?
Yeah, I guess a lot of these systems were chosen before the business opened. So once it opens, you sort of see shortfalls in how certain things work. I don't want to shame any systems here, but like some systems.
Shame.
So yeah, there are a few systems we know now. You sort of realize, there could be better out there, and so we're sort of stuck on deals for 3-5 years. Now they're finishing up. Sort of like, okay, let's start the conversation. Is this the best approach? Is this the best system for our business, or do we need to change the approach? And I think that's where we have this conversation now on some systems.
I know there's a rivalry with Taronga. But is there like information and knowledge share with them?
They're part of the ZAR, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
So no,
Are they a different association? Or?
No, they're part of the ZAR, but yeah, they're rivals. So I guess they don't share too much with us. I
guess at the end of the day, it's business, but they're also government run, aren't they?
I think that's from our point of view, it's unfair advantage where they get a crap load of funding from the government, whereas we don't. So is there a sort of unfair battlefield? But
someone will privatize them soon. One of the future PMs
Leaders,
or premiers, boost the state budget.
But you got to take all your foreign internationals somewhere, right? So probably Taronga's there. Check out all of our country's animals in one hit.
I had a ton of questions, but I can't. Do you have any other questions?
Mine was like, okay, so your dimensions. I think we'll go back into that, right? So when we first started the sort of, it felt like the 50th iteration of this podcast, but it wasn't. We went to this whole finance zone and we're talking about dimensions and how do you think about that? And I was talking about, hey, you're a business. You need to sort of figure out what your drivers are. And the reason is because you're trying to get clarity on where your numbers are, right? So where's your money coming in? Where are you spending? And then you sort of come back and said, it's ever evolving. So you've kept changing it as a business is required, which I think is great, right? Because I think if you had stuck by a way, let's say pre-zoo opening, nothing would make sense now, right? You'd have zero visibility. You just see numbers coming in like blocks and just be like, this is garbage to me, right? Honestly. So you've had to iterate. You've had to make some so how does dimensions work for people that don't know on this podcast when you're talking GL?
Yeah. So
you have a cost. Is it cost center that you start off with, and then dimensions? What is it all?
yeah. So I guess the system we use is Microsoft Dynamics, where sort of So you got your geocode, and then you're gonna because when you come to reporting, you want to. I guess to your point, when you open a business, you got to divide the business into certain parts to realize who's making revenue, who's got the costs, and you got to track that and see if it's performing or not as well. So when it came to us creating the geocodes to dimensions, it was sort of okay. So we create a chart of accounts to the best of our knowledge. Like we had a standard set which we thought would work, but that's changed so much from day one to what it is now. Because just as the business evolves, you sort of see you need more codes. Then you got dimensions. So then first we had to create departments. So we had to divide the zoo somehow. So we got our retail division, food and beverage division, ticket sale division, ITs, marketing, all that. So we sort of try to divide as much as possible, and everyone gets a different sort of dimension code. Because when at the end of the month, we're gonna report on each department and see how they tracked against their budget, right? So that's one dimension. And then, so you can keep digging. So whether you want to, some people have employed in dimensions. I think we looked into that, but then that was no use for us because we try to look into that. We're like, is it worth looking at employees and what the cost and stuff? And thought, no use. They're not going to make us any more money or help in anything. So we generally look at terminals. So we got like about 40 odd POS point of sale terminals around the zoo. Is it worth reporting each terminal? We sort of went, look, there probably is something we can do down the track, but right now we were just trying to establish a business. It's probably not worth it right now. So that was a dimension we looked into, but we sort of put that on the shelf for now. So dimension. Then we started a business where we started doing functions and events, and then that came to a point where it's like, okay, each event function we make into a separate P&L. We want to see is it profitable. So then I had to go and create a new dimension there. So like every event had a different code.
Yeah.
So then every time we had revenue expense, we posted that dimension level. So if some customer goes, Hudson had a party at the Sydney Zoo, was that profitable? I can run a P&L report just on the Hudson event, and then it'll give me a result whether we made a profit or not.
Yeah.
Whether it was worth holding events like that, and that sort of approach. So these dimensions, they feed off the geocodes. There's like another, so it's all based on the geocode, but just extra levels.
Yeah. Where
then I can go in and dig further and sort of pull out reports and I guess help management decide whether are we doing the right approach by going this way or do we have to make different changes, things like that. Yeah.
I guess like we were talking in that one of those initial episodes about what you want to measure.
Yeah.
That's what they've kind of set up.
No, absolutely. Which is really good, right? Because I think you've started off with the basic of like, where's the money coming in? Where's the money going out? Then you come back and said, all right, what do we need now? And then as the business evolved, you kept going. I think that's really really, really great. So, and so like, you've got, if you like, let's say you run that event situation. So is it hard to insert a new dimension? What's the process that you have to do? Is it a couple of clicks that you do on Microsoft Dynamics? How do you go about it?
No, it is. It is annoying. It is a manual. It's a manual addition to the process where before it was just a geocode department post. Now it's like I got to add an event code, all that kind of stuff. So it does add clicks. So it also takes a bit more time. That's what we were talking about in the previous episode where automation, AI coming into it. Like I would love that, but I don't know how to bring it into it. That's my challenge right now. Where it's like, if I can bring that stuff into my business to speed up the process, why not? But so you're sort of adding more clicks, more things. It does take more time, but at the end of the day, if that's what management wants, they want to see the results. This is for now. This is the best way I know. But yeah, I do want to get. And I think, look, I'm not saying, this is much better than Excel or something where I can easily lose track. Whereas this is still all within Dynamics. I got some sort of better control over it. Yeah. But I'm sure there's better processes out there, which hopefully I'll implement soon.
That's awesome.
Nice, man. Very good, insightful view of what it's like to start, particularly in the whole. Is it tourism industry, zoo? What industry do you belong in? Tourism?
Yeah. Tourism attractions. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever. Well, I've never dabbled in that, so good to get that insight. And if you like this, if you like these insights, if you liked the view of Sydney Zoo from an accounting lens, like and subscribe to this video. If you want to chat further, Hubert, you can find him on LinkedIn. He's got a really nice smile in his profile pic. But yeah, like and subscribe, guys, if you liked it. We like to add value with what we share in these episodes to you guys as finance pros or business owners. So if you find value, if you want to know anything further or newer, let us know as well. But otherwise, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
See ya.
Toodaloo.